Character downplay in fighting games is as old as time. Legends say that millions of years ago, after a long day of hunting and surviving the wilderness, cavemen would all gather around a fire and argue about how Jin is actually pretty overrated because he has bad lows. If you've had any experience with the fighting game community, you've seen this. It is absolutely everywhere. I make videos primarily on Tekken, and every single time without fail when I talk about a character who is objectively strong, I get hundreds of comments from people trying to justify it, with them often getting very, very heated about it. Don't get me wrong, people do this in all character-based online games, but there's something about fighting games that makes it so much more intense and heated. Maybe it's because of the nature of 1v1 games. In fighting games, it feels like you have way more personal connection to your character. They represent your playstyle and can often serve as an extension of oneself at high levels of play. Fighting games are also very old. If someone has a main in another online game, like League of Legends or Overwatch, at most they've only been playing that character for as long as the games have existed, which compared to fighting games are relatively new. Some people have been playing Ken for 36 years, Law and Yoshimitsu for 30 years, and that level of time commitment builds an absolutely crazy connection to these characters. To the point where a lot of these people actually get personally offended when someone insults their character. It's as if they can feel for their fictional character and make it their utmost priority to defend them to the death at any given chance. What happened to separating the player from the character? I just can't get behind this being an even remotely healthy way to engage with fighting games. And listen, there's nothing wrong with defending your main if you genuinely disagree with what someone said. But like, if every single pro player is putting your character at the very top of the tier lists, you should probably look into that, rather than spending all of your time arguing with people on Reddit about why all the pros are wrong and they just don't understand Cammy the way you do. Platinum player, by the way. Ego is also a huge factor here. Let's be honest, the vast majority of us want to win when we play fighting games. It's funny, when we lose, we want to blame the character we lost to. This character is so cheap, I only lost because I don't know the matchup. Or, I only lost because my character is bad. But when we win, we want to distance ourselves from the character as much as humanly possible. I won because I outplayed you, and that's it. The idea of you winning just because of your character being strong is something that no one wants to hear. People's egos intrinsically want to take all the credit for their wins, and anything, even the slightest suggestion that they might be having an easier time or be a little bit privileged because of their character, immediately creates two branches in the universe timeline. They can either A, not let it bother them, accept that they're playing a strong character, and keep enjoying that character and enjoying the game. Or B, fight to the death on Reddit and in YouTube comment sections, going through every single reason why the character is actually mid-tier, while simultaneously attacking every single person who disagrees. Unfortunately, I've been dealing with way too much of option B recently. People don't just downplay their characters in terms of viability, it's also a huge thing when it comes to character difficulty. I've seen so many people fight over the dumbest things. People go into war because they saw a difficulty tier list and think their character should move up one spot from the average difficulty tier into the slightly above average difficulty tier, as if that matters. People get really angry when you call their character easy to play, which was always kind of odd to me. I've talked about it a lot on this channel, but I actually think that easy-to-play characters are the best characters to play in fighting games. There's a reason why the vast majority of pro players stick to easy-to-pick-up, top-tier characters. Easy characters means there's way less room for error, and you can focus entirely on outplaying your opponents, rather than fighting against your own character. Easy characters are awesome, but people can't handle it. It's almost certainly still an ego thing. In their minds, the idea of their character being easy means that they're doing less than other people and having an easier time. Even though, again, playing easier characters often leads to you becoming a way better fundamental player. The reality is there's nothing wrong with playing top-tier characters. There's nothing wrong with playing easy top-tier characters. Who cares? Getting so unbelievably personally attached to your character and the general image of that character in the community to the point where you have to actually go to war defending them whenever anyone says something you don't like is just very immature. Remember the famous incident where a random Xiaoyu player on Twitter called out Ni, arguably the greatest Tekken player of all time, and told him to stop crying about Xiaoyu and just learn the matchup. This is one of the most infamous examples of insane downplay I've ever seen. It really was hilarious to witness. There's the whole meme of Ken being the worst Shodo, even though I don't actually think Ken is downplayed quite as much as people say he is. Honestly, I feel like Cammy, and more recently Zangief, are the characters who get the most downplay. And don't even get me started on Smash players. Every time I see someone put Roy in mid-tier, I feel like I'm gonna lose my mind. I've just never seen the problem with accepting that your character is strong. It doesn't mean you have to stop playing them. Who cares what other people think? Now, to be fair, there is actually another side to this, and that's the people who go around calling anyone who decides to play a top tier a tier picker. There's actually usually another word here instead of picker, but I'm not trying to get demonetized, boys, you know how it is. These are people who go around insulting everyone who picks top tier characters, because they aren't loyal to a mid-tier character. This is directly causing more character downplay. If people are going to be insulted for playing their character because they're cheap or overpowered, then of course they're going to try and justify it and defend their characters. People love arguing online. We've been knowing this. A lot of people play fighting games because they want to win, and picking these characters gives them the easiest time winning. I really see nothing wrong with people doing this. Every character is available to you in fighting games. Well, technically not anymore with DLC, but you get what I mean. Which means everyone is more or less on an equal playing field in fighting games. Character loyalty is great and all, but if you choose to play a mid-tier character and then flame others for picking the best character in the game, it's like, then go pick another character. Literally no one is stopping you. This definitely contributes to character downplay and creates almost a weird cycle. At the end of the day, you should play the character you like the most. Most fighting games are balanced to the point where, unless you're a professional player flying out to events like EVO, you can win and do well with everyone. If you want to play a top tier, great. You can play a strong character, and also acknowledge that they're strong. Admitting that the character you play is strong or even overpowered doesn't devalue you as a player or as a person. It just means you're being realistic, and you shouldn't make it your life's mission to downplay your character to every single person who calls them strong. If you genuinely believe that all the pro players are wrong and you're right, then fight away, I guess. I'm all for people expressing their hot takes or unconventional opinions, but maybe try being a little bit more civil with it. I don't actually think most people are in this situation, though. I think most people are, as the kids say, on copium. It all comes back to the ego. They refuse to accept that their character is strong, because that means they have no excuse for losing. If they lost, they got outplayed. Remember what I said earlier? Everyone wants to blame their losses on either their opponent's character or their own character, and they will always find a way to do one of these. Even if that means spending hours online arguing that Jin is weak in Tekken, or replying to the best Tekken player in the world that he just needs to learn the matchup and get good. As someone who's been at least decently successful in fighting games, I can tell you this: if you actually want to take a fighting game seriously and improve, you need to drop the ego. If you're in the position where you're starting fights on social media every time someone says that they think your character is too strong, what does that say about where you're at? This isn't helping you improve. This isn't helping anyone. If you don't believe in your character, why even play them? Focus on improving and enjoying the game. That's it. Stop downplaying characters, guys. Besides my character, of course. My character's trash. That's all I got for this video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe to support more scripted fighting game content like this. I primarily made Tekken content, and I'm going to continue making Tekken content, but I want to expand, hopefully making more general videos like this, and also videos on the Street Fighter series. So if you're interested in that, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's a really, really big help, as only about 20% of the people who watch me are subscribed. As always, big thanks to my YouTube members and Patreon patrons. I couldn't do this without you. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.